Okay, let's dive right into this. In a world absolutely overflowing with information, notifications, and constant comparisons, trying to figure out what authentic living and happiness even mean can feel, well, pretty overwhelming, right?
Absolutely. Like trying to find a clear signal in all that noise. It's incredibly easy to get pulled into looking outwards, chasing external expectations or fleeting trends, hoping they hold the secret key.
Exactly. And that's precisely why we're doing this deep dive today. We've got the source material you brought us specifically, a list laying out 15 insights for authentic living and happiness.
Right.
Our mission here is, well, simple but powerful. To go beneath the surface of these specific insights, pull out the absolute most important, maybe even surprising, nuggets of knowledge, and really see what they offer you on this quest.
Think of us as guides, sort of navigating this particular map of ideas you provided.
Mhm.
We're here to help discover what really stands out, connect those dots, in a way that cuts through some of the usual platitudes.
Yeah, it's a collaborative exploration of the specific source's take. We're not doing general self-help here. We're focusing squarely on what this material highlights as truly impactful. Let's unpack this.
Sounds like the perfect place to start. And this source, it kicks us off by challenging a really common trap, doesn't it? Looking outside ourselves for validation and, well, crucially, for happiness.
It wastes no time getting right to it. Insight number one hits us immediately. Don't wait for others to give you happiness. The source is incredibly clear. True happiness isn't something you just passively get from someone else.
No, it argues it comes from understanding and accepting yourself
Yeah.
completely. And the really critical point it makes is that waiting for others to make you happy is, well, basically giving away control of your own emotions.
Giving away control. Wow. That really reframes the whole waiting game, doesn't it?
It does. It suggests the power, the control, is actually fundamentally internal.
And that seems to connect directly to insight number 8, the one focused on self-love. It says, the love you can give yourself right now is love that doesn't wait for the right time.
Yes, and waiting for that right time to love yourself is, in this source's view, just another way we postpone happiness, really. It suggests self-love isn't some destination you reach after fixing everything.
Right. It's not something you earn.
Exactly. It can begin anytime, like right this second, through simple acts. Self-care, maybe being kinder in your self-talk, making time for things that genuinely nourish you. It's framed as an active, ongoing practice.
An active practice. Yeah, not some future goal. Okay, so happiness isn't a reward from outside. Self-love starts now. This whole theme of internal happiness feels really nicely summarized by Insight 15. This one's quite insightful. Sometimes happiness isn't getting everything you want.
Hmm. This one feels absolutely key to the source's view on lasting happiness. It argues that true enduring happiness isn't really tied to acquiring every single thing you desire or ticking off every goal.
So what is it tied to according to this?
It says it stems more from being content with what you have right now, finding ways to appreciate the present moment, seeking meaning in the small things close to you, rather than constantly chasing future wants.
Hmm.
And the source's concluding thought for all 15 points really pulls this together. Happiness lies in simplicity and, crucially, in the love you cultivate for yourself.
It's fascinating how firmly it grounds happiness internally. Not in achievement or what others think, but in this fundamental state of acceptance and appreciation, like building a house from the inside out.
Precisely. So, if happiness starts from within, depends on our internal state, our self-love.
Mm-hmm.
How do we actually experience the world in a way that fosters that?
Right. How does that translate? Well, the source next pivots to something really fundamental. How our viewpoint, our perspective changes everything.
Ah, yes. This is where insight number 4 comes in. It's really illuminating. Change your perspective, and life changes its meaning. It highlights how the exact same external event can hit us completely differently.
It uses that great simple example of rain, doesn't it? One person sees rain, it's annoying, inconvenient, miserable even.
Yeah, ruins the plans.
But to another, it's peaceful, cozy, refreshing. It's the same rain, but the meaning assigned to it is totally different.
Purely based on perspective.
Yeah.
And the source highlights that cultivating this ability, this flexibility in perspective, is how you start seeing possibilities, maybe even opportunities, in every situation, even the tough ones.
It's not about changing the facts on the ground, but changing how you frame them in your mind.
Exactly. And that ability to frame your experience seems to connect straight into Insight 13, which presents us with a pretty stark choice, according to the source.
Which one is that?
Life has only two choices: seeing everything as ordinary or seeing every day as a miracle that we still have breath.
Wow, that really forces you to consider how you're moving through the world, doesn't it? Are you just, going through the motions in a mundane place or one filled with potential wonder?
The source argues that consciously choosing to view life with appreciation fundamentally transforms your whole experience of being alive. It gives examples, right?
Yeah, simple things like eating a meal you really enjoy, or hearing loved ones laughing, or just seeing a sunrise.
And it's not saying these things are inherent miracles, but that they become daily miracles when viewed with appreciation. It's about how you choose to look.
It shifts the focus away from needing huge, rare events to feel awe towards recognizing the richness that's already there every day.
Mm-hmm. Finding the wonder in the ordinary.
Okay, so we've got looking inward for happiness, shifting our perspective. What's next in this framework from the source?
Well, the source then dives into something really universal, the journey of growth, and maybe even more importantly, how we relate to imperfection.
Imperfection. Insight number 5 offers a really grounding thought here. No matter how old you are, you're still a beginner in every life lesson.
I like that one. It's such a, well, a humble perspective, isn't it? It implies that real learning never actually stops.
Right. No matter how much experience you rack up.
There's always something new, a deeper layer. And the source suggests that keeping that humility, that openness, is what keeps life interesting, prevents us getting stuck.
Which leads really nicely into insight number 3. The older you get, the more you should love yourself. And this isn't about vanity, is it?
No, not at all. The source frames it more as a call for deeper understanding and acceptance of your whole being, strengths, weaknesses, flaws, the lot. As we live longer, we gather experiences.
Triumphs and missteps.
Exactly. We gather baggage, regrets, lessons. This insight suggests we should actively work to forgive ourselves for past mistakes and truly appreciate every single step that got us here. It's about building self-compassion through experience.
Self-compassion. Okay. And speaking of those missteps and imperfections, Insight 11 is incredibly practical here and reassuring, actually. People who love themselves aren't always perfect.
Thank goodness for that. It makes it clear that self-love isn't some state of flawlessness you suddenly achieve.
Right, where you've got it all figured out.
No, it's fundamentally about accepting your imperfections, your vulnerabilities, your mistakes. And the source highlights the value in that acceptance, doesn't it?
It does. What does it say is the value?
It emphasizes that seeing mistakes as normal, unavoidable parts of being human, and then learning from them instead of being crippled by them, that's the actual engine for genuine growth.
It ties right back to being a perpetual beginner. Growth comes from not being perfect.
And being willing to learn from it. So if we accept imperfection, embrace continuous learning, build self-compassion, where does that lead us?
It seems to open the door for insight number 12. Dare to let yourself be more than you think you can be.
Yeah, and what's particularly insightful here is the source's argument that many limitations we feel aren't really external barriers. Often they come from our own thoughts.
Our self-doubt, our limiting beliefs about what's possible for us.
Exactly. It strongly suggests that by daring to step outside those comfort zones, maybe trying new things we feel unqualified for, or pursuing paths that feel a bit scary, we open ourselves up to discovering hidden potential, capabilities we didn't even know we had.
Yeah.
It's about consciously pushing against your own self-imposed ceilings.
Challenging those internal limits. Okay, so we've covered the internal foundation, perspective shaping reality, and growth through imperfection and potential. But life isn't just internal, right? It's a shared journey. There's pace, relationships, challenges like pain.
Definitely. And the source addresses these elements of the sort of external journey too. Insight number 2 gives us a really grounding perspective on life's overall trajectory. Life is a gift, not a competition.
Oh, that's a big one. In a world that constantly pushes comparison, achievements, possessions, timeline.
Right. This is such a valuable counter message from the source.
Right.
It suggests we need to consciously stop seeing our lives as some race against other people's highlight reels.
And instead,
Refocus on the intrinsic value of each moment for ourselves. Every day, every experience is a chance to learn, feel, connect, make memories, without that pressure to rush or keep up.
that idea of not having to rush fits so well with insight number 9. Life doesn't have to be rushed all the time.
Especially when we are constantly told to compete and hurry. The source really values intentionally slowing down, taking breaks, consciously connecting with the present.
How does this suggest we do that?
It mentions observing small details, the feel of sun on your skin, birds singing, the taste of coffee, using these as anchors to become more present, less driven by that external urgency.
It's a compelling case for prioritizing presence over pace, experience over metrics.
hmm Now, relationships are obviously core to life. Insight 7 offers a beautiful, maybe slightly unexpected take on our connections. Every encounter is a gift of time.
A gift of time. How does the source expand on that?
It posits that every single person we meet, from the briefest chat with a stranger to our deepest bonds, comes into our lives carrying lessons, experiences, different perspectives.
So every interaction has value.
In its own way, yes. Each encounter is presented as contributing, maybe subtly, to shaping who we become. It reframes every connection, however small, as potentially meaningful, additive.
That's a lovely way to view the people who cross our paths, but life also involves the hard stuff, right? The struggles, the pain.
Yeah.
Insight 10 tackles this head on, quite directly.
It does. Don't let fear of pain stop you from living. The force is realistic here. It accepts that pain, emotional, physical loss, it's unavoidable. It's part of being human.
You can't just bypass it.
No. But the critical point it makes is about letting the fear of that pain dictate your life. What happens then?
Well, it says that allowing the fear of potential pain to dominate your choices means you'll inevitably miss out on so many potentially good, fulfilling experiences.
Right. The core message seems to be that pain, while tough, actually teaches resilience, strength. And paradoxically, it helps us appreciate happiness and peace even more when they come.
So it's about moving through difficulties, not trying to avoid life to avoid discomfort.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Strength forged in difficulty. And finally, kind of tucked in among these insights about navigating challenges, Insight 6 offers something simple but really powerful, a personal practice.
Which is?
Don't forget your own smile.
Ah, simple.
Simple, but the source describes smiling not just as an outward thing, but as a gift you give yourself and others. It suggests the act of smiling, even when you don't fully feel it, can actually boost your own mood, trigger positive physical responses, and just as importantly, it creates positive energy outwards. It can change an interaction, shift the mood of a tough day, maybe even for someone else.
A simple internal shift creating external ripple effects. That feels like a recurring theme in this source, doesn't it?
It truly is. So we've explored the internal foundation, the power of perspective, embracing growth and imperfection, navigating life's pace, relationships, challenges, and the source brings us to a concluding thought on life's ultimate meaning.
Which ties a lot of this together, I imagine.
It does. That would be insight number 14. The meaning of life isn't just about what we gain.
Okay. Pushing back against materialism or just focusing on achievements?
Exactly. The source contrasts that temporary, maybe fleeting happiness from material things or external gains with something it sees as far more lasting, more meaningful.
And what does it identify as those true sources of meaning?
It argues the deepest, most lasting meaning lies in what we do and how we connect. In giving to others, loving deeply, continuous learning, growing as people.
So it's not about the stuff we accumulate.
No. It's about the memories, the relationships, the experiences we create and share. Those are the things that truly stay with us, enrich our lives long term. It redirects the focus from accumulation to contribution, connection, internal richness.
Okay, let's just take a moment to synthesize what we've pulled from these 15 insights in this deep dive. What are the core threads that really run through all of them, tying them together for you?
Well, there's definitely a strong, consistent emphasis on finding happiness and fulfillment from within, actively cultivating it, not just waiting for it or depending on external things.
Yeah, and that clear call to consciously shift our perspective, from seeing the world as just ordinary to finding the miraculous in the everyday, appreciating what is.
Right, rather than only focusing on what's missing. And alongside that, embracing growth means accepting imperfection, forgiving ourselves for past mistakes.
And daring to step into our full potential, even if it feels a bit scary.
Then, navigating the actual path of life involves valuing each moment over competition, intentionally slowing down, connecting with the present.
Seeing value in every encounter, understanding pain builds resilience.
And deepens our appreciation for happiness, ultimately.
And finally, that overarching theme. True meaning isn't about gain, but about giving, loving, learning, and the richness of experiences and connections.
Exactly. The source's final thought really underscores this. True living means being authentic. And that fundamental happiness comes from within, rooted in self-love.
It's a powerful, interconnected set of ideas. They really circle back to that initial point about cultivating well-being from the inside out.
It truly brings it all together in a coherent way. based on this source.
Well, this deep dive into these 15 insights has been a really fascinating exploration of what authentic living and happiness might mean according to this specific material. We've pulled out key ideas that consistently point us inward.
Towards cultivating perspective, self-acceptance, valuing moments, connections, finding meaning in growth and contribution, not just to what we get.
It offers a specific map, drawing from these insights, guiding us away from some of that constant external noise towards what this source sees as truly impactful for a fulfilling life.
hmm A very internal focus.
So if we take that core message that happiness isn't just getting everything you want, and that the greatest love, the starting point, is the love you cultivate for yourself, maybe the question for you listening is, what's one small step you could take today, right now, to nurture that inner source of happiness and self-love? Something to sit with, perhaps explore on your own.